I won't say a waste of time, I don't know what that was, of course, I wish all those plays connected, but, it's football. It's not going to be perfect all the time.
Hard about that because these are young players that you're so invested in their development. So I'll let the week play out and make a decision.
Jeudy just lit a fuse that might blow up the whole Cleveland locker room. This isn't a rumor. It's chaos in real time. Even the Browns mascot probably dipped under the bench with a helmet on. Word is, Coach Kevin Stefanski's been out here moving pieces like he's in a chess tournament, while the entire team's begging for Shedeur Sanders to just get a turn on the board. But Jeudy? Oh, he wasn't having it. He called the coach out straight up, and now the Browns look less like a football squad and more like a full-on reality show gone rogue. Cameras aren't rolling, but the drama sure is, and it's louder than any Hard Knocks episode ever aired. Jeudy grabbed the mic metaphorically and turned the tension all the way up. He's tired of the hush-hush meetings, the mystery game plans, and Stefanski's little quarterback guessing game that's got fans scratching their heads. One minute they're breaking down plays, and the next, Jeudy's throwing shade like, "Why we acting like Shedeur Sanders doesn't exist?" That single line cracked open the locker room like a soda can under pressure. From that moment, every conversation, every side eye, every tweet, it's all about one thing.
Today was asked about the Browns' 4-quarterback plan from camp and the reps given to Flacco and Pickett, who are no longer here, and whether that was a waste of time. I would dare say he dropped the answer. Well, it wasn't a waste of time.
I don't know what that was.
I don't know what it was.
That's just an honest answer in the moment.
Yep.
Of like, I'm trying to. Those are the moments where athletes they get to be livid at the situation, and they get to be mad that they have to be the meat shield and the ones that stand in and try to justify a decision by a front office and coaching staff that they don't even.
The Shedeur question. And trust, this isn't just a disagreement anymore. It's the start of a football civil war. It's no longer a debate. It's a full-blown quarterback crisis with a side of locker room mayhem. Jeudy didn't just stand behind Shedeur Sanders. He basically kicked off a one-man campaign to make him the face of the Browns. He said what everyone's been whispering.
Hell, holy hell, the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, it's something else. It really is. I mean, I got to tell you, it's pretty wild. I've never seen anything like this. Oh, some might call these the Cleveland Clowns. Yeah. And I liked Stefanski, but it's clear he's not even involved anymore. I don't think he's involved. Let's start here. This will make the second time in 4 weeks that Joe Flacco starts versus the Packers.
The kid's been putting in serious work, grinding through film sessions, staying late, showing up early, outworking everyone since day one of OTAs. Meanwhile, Coach Stefanski's standing there like he's the only guy in the room who thinks benching your best weapon is some kind of genius-level strategy. It's giving 4D chess, but the board's upside down. When your wide receiver sounds more fired up about the quarterback room than your head coach.
Kevin Stefanski proved my point with this number 2 depth chart list that he clearly does not care about Shedeur Sanders. Everything you need to know about this coach, Kevin Stefanski. Now, there's been a lot of things going on, and Shedeur, he responded to the number 2 quarterback position as well.
Nah, I'm in a great mental space overall. So, I would say you tend to get a little bit more excited, when you see a light at the end of the.
That's not leadership, that's confusion in cleats. And Jeudy's frustration didn't just come out of nowhere. Ever since Joe Flacco stepped aside, Cleveland's been echoing with the same question that just won't die. Why isn't Shedeur Sanders starting? Fans know, players know, even rival teams know. Everyone sees that Shedeur's got the spark, the poise, the it factor. Everyone except the one man holding the clipboard. And here's where it got wild. Jeudy didn't drop hints or sneak comments. He went all the way public, clear as daylight. He said Shedeur's earned the locker room's respect, he's ready, and this so-called development phase Stefanski keeps preaching, it's starting to look less like patience and more like procrastination with a headset. And here's the wild twist. Jeudy wasn't out there on an island. Turns out half the locker room's been biting their tongues, thinking the exact same thing. Nobody wants to be the one to walk up mid-practice and ask the coach, yo, you allergic to progress or what? But now the silence is cracking. And the moment that really shook the room, none other than Myles Garrett stepped in with his own 2 cents. When the man who terrorizes quarterbacks for a living says he respects the one sitting on your bench, you better believe people start paying attention. Garrett didn't just nod in approval, he dropped straight up praise.
He was just flat out like, I don't know what to call it. That's just so like that's endearing. Like when somebody gives you I didn't hear any vitriol, I didn't hear any frustration. I just heard like I cannot call it a waste of time.
Yeah,
not allowed to call it a waste of time. I also don't know what it was.
I think we need to add this to the Kevin Stefanski criticism board as we move forward. The idea that, and it was not just a local, this was a national narrative in training camp moving up to it, was like, wait, we've never seen 5 quarterbacks try to all get reps, all try to actually make a real run for it. I threw a 5th in there, you guys know why. But that was the narrative. We've never seen that many quarterbacks in one camp. And turns out, yeah, it didn't work.
He said Shedeur Sanders earned it. Respect, recognition, all of it. His work ethic, his leadership, his drive, top tier. The man's showing up before sunrise, studying film like he's prepping for the SATs, and still making time to check in with coaches like he's already running the team. That's not rookie energy. That's franchise mode. And honestly, it's poetic. The Browns' defensive captain, the same dude built like a tank, is now out here giving motivational speeches about the backup quarterback's discipline, while the head coach is still stuck in his wait-and-see phase like it's 1998. Shedeur didn't earn his rep from hype. He built it brick by brick. Early film grind, late-night playbook sessions, laser focus. He's got enough discipline to make half the locker room feel guilty for ever hitting snooze. If the Browns were handing out Employee of the Month awards, Shedeur Sanders' face would be plastered on every single plaque. But somehow Coach Stefanski still looks unsure, like he's waiting for a lightning bolt from the football gods to give him permission to make the obvious call. The irony here is almost laughable. You've got a team that loves preaching about developing young talent, but every time that talent's ready to shine,
the Shedeur Sanders situation just hit another level of disrespect. After the Joe Flacco trade, the writing is on the wall. Head coach Kevin Stefanski clearly does not believe in Shedeur Sanders. Now, let's be real. How do you make your own drafted quarterback, whether it's the 1st round or the 5th round? You invested in this guy. So how do you make your own drafted quarterback wait for the number 2 spot when the only other QB that's left is the leprechaun man himself, Dylan Gabriel?
They treat it like a problem instead of a blessing. Stefanski keeps tossing out the same line. Shedeur's young, as if youth's some kind of virus that clears up after enough time on the bench. Meanwhile, that same coaching staff is throwing live reps to players who barely had time to unpack their duffel bags before hitting the turf. Like seriously, let's call it what it is. Quinshon Judkins, who missed chunks of camp, is getting meaningful snaps. But Shedeur, the one who's been grinding like a man possessed, gets rewarded with motivational speeches about patience and timing. What are we even doing here? It's no wonder Jeudy snapped. Imagine showing up every day, watching your guy dominate in practice, lead the huddles and outwork the vets, only for your boss to say, we'll give him a shot next quarter. It's madness. The Browns' locker room doesn't even feel like a football team right now. It's straight up turning into a soap opera. Every episode ends with the same cliffhanger. Will Stefanski finally start the kid or keep pretending not to see the storm brewing right under his nose? Will Stefanski finally let Shedeur Sanders play? Because at this point, Cleveland's turning into a live sports talk hotline, fans calling in like it's an emergency line for bad coaching decisions. And look, nobody's out here saying Stefanski's a terrible coach, but let's be real.
Regardless of how you feel about Shedeur, at this point, you have to feel bad for Shedeur, because what the heck is this?
Kevin Stefanski full of shit.
Oh wow.
He full of shit. That's the type of coach you talk about instilling confidence into your players. How you think that makes Shedeur feel? I don't know who the backup is? Yeah. You got to be kidding me. You really gonna bring up Bailey Zappi from the practice squad and make him the backup over me and I've been on the active roster? Either Kevin Stefanski thinks Shedeur Sanders is Magic City parking lot, straight ass, or he just don't like.
This situation stopped looking like strategy a long time ago. Now it's starting to smell a lot more like stubbornness, dressed up as leadership. It's like watching somebody drive in circles while insisting they're not lost. Everyone can see the loop but the driver. Meanwhile, Shedeur's over here moving like a professional, calm, composed, and classy. No whining, no cryptic Instagram captions, no drama-filled interviews, just hard work and laser focus. That kind of maturity, it's rare. Even veterans are starting to notice it. Myles Garrett himself said Shedeur's behavior doesn't even match his age. He carries himself like he's been leading huddles for a decade. And here's what's crazy. He's not just preparing to play, he's preparing to lead. But somehow that's still not enough to convince Stefanski, who keeps pulling out the "we're being mindful of development" card like he's raising a digital pet instead of coaching a quarterback. Come on, man. At this point, if guys like Jeudy and Myles Garrett are publicly backing the same player and analysts are side-eyeing your choices, maybe it's time to read the room, because right now, that Browns locker room looks more split than a Thanksgiving family group chat after someone brings up politics. Jeudy didn't set out to start a war.
Is Kevin Stefanski pretty much declaring public war on Shedeur, or at least Cold War on Shedeur, because he won't even speak Shedeur's name in these interview sessions. It's like Parcells when T.O. was there. He wouldn't even call his name. He just called him the player. Remember that? And this is degenerated into, every time he's asked about Shedeur, he just plays dodgeball and with a bunch of non-answers. And yesterday, he wouldn't even go so far as, and I understand your point about maybe it's not a great thing to be the number 2 on the depth chart.
But guess what? He might have just sparked one anyway. The second he spoke up, it was like a switch flipped in that locker room. Suddenly, everyone who'd been quiet, walking on eggshells, finally found the nerve to stop pretending they didn't see the chaos brewing right in front of them. And the craziest part, this could have all been avoided if someone up top had just listened. The Browns are sitting on pure gold, and they're acting like it's radioactive. Shedeur Sanders has everything you could ask for in a young quarterback. Poise, precision, leadership, and that cool confidence that doesn't feel rehearsed. But instead of unleashing it, the organization's treating him like some science experiment that's not ready to leave the lab. It's wild. What's even funnier, or sadder depending how you look at it, is how predictable this whole mess is. The longer Stefanski stalls, the uglier it gets. The fan base isn't even debating anymore. They've moved straight into revolt mode. Every time Shedeur's name hits social media, it's like an alarm goes off. Fans flood the timeline with college highlight clips like they're reminding the team, yo, this is the guy sitting right there on your bench. And here's the real kicker. Stefanski's play-it-safe strategy is now the riskiest move on the board. The tension's so thick in that facility, you could slice it with a helmet visor. The Browns keep talking about their long-term vision, but if your big-picture plan involves ignoring your most promising player, maybe it's time to get your eyes checked, because that vision's blurry. Even analysts outside Cleveland are joining the circus now, scratching their heads on national TV like, how does a team with this much talent keep tripping over its own decisions? And while the front office keeps swearing there's a plan, nobody, not the players, not the fans, not even the insiders, seems to know what that plan actually is anymore. Right now, Jeudy looks like the only adult in the room. He's not just defending his quarterback, he's defending accountability. He's saying out loud what everyone else has been too nervous to admit. If Shedeur Sanders is showing up early, grinding through film, leading in practice, and doing everything right, why is he still being treated like some long-term experiment instead of the game-ready weapon he already is? And then came Myles Garrett's words, calm, sharp, and loud enough to echo through the walls. When your defensive captain, a man who lives to crush quarterbacks, starts praising the one sitting on your bench, that's not just flattery, that's a polite warning shot. Hey, coach, maybe it's time to wake up. But Stefanski, he's still in that cautious cocoon, giving the same recycled press conference lines about player development like it's a philosophy class instead of football.
Feeling that
Dylan Gabriel is going to lose all 4 of the next few games, and it's going to be to the point to where the Browns are out of playoff contention. And by the time he puts Shedeur Sanders in, they're going to be basically playing for a first overall pick. And it's going to put Shedeur in a situation where he's going to be forced to lose games. Do you see what's going on here, or is it just me? I know I'm not the only one who's...
At this point, he's turned indecision into an art form. But inside that locker room, something's shifting. Players are starting to whisper, to question, to wonder. If effort doesn't get rewarded, if showing up early, leading by example, and putting in work doesn't earn you a chance, then what's the point? That's the kind of quiet tension that poisons a locker room before the first whistle even blows. And here's where things get real hot. Word around the league is that other teams, yes, even the Raiders, are keeping close tabs on Shedeur's situation. They smell opportunity, and they're waiting for Cleveland to fumble again, because you can't build a culture of accountability while benching the one guy who actually lives it. Players notice that. Fans notice that. If Stefanski keeps holding Shedeur back, he's not just stalling a career. He's exposing what the Browns really value, and it doesn't look like excellence right now. At this point, it's bigger than Shedeur Sanders. This is about the Browns' entire identity. Are they a team that lets performance decide opportunity, or one that lets fear make the calls? Because right now it's looking shaky. The world's watching to see what kind of franchise they really are. Bold or scared, confident or confused. Even neutral fans are glued to the drama like it's must-watch TV. This isn't just football anymore. It's part sports debate, part soap opera, and part social experiment and patience. Every week feels like a new episode titled, "What Will Stefanski Do Now?" And the truth? People aren't tuning in because they trust his plan. They're watching because the suspense has gotten too wild to ignore. Meanwhile, Shedeur just keeps grinding. No noise, no excuses, no ego. He's doing what he's always done. Work.
Now, we all know that Dylan Gabriel is Kevin Stefanski's guy. A lot of people are out there saying that Kevin Stefanski doesn't like Shedeur Sanders. He could care less about Shedeur Sanders. And majority of the things that Kevin Stefanski is saying makes you believe that that is the case. And Joe Flacco was traded. And Kevin Stefanski did not know that Joe Flacco was being traded. That was a Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry call. So Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry are the ones that traded Joe Flacco because they want to see Shedeur move up in the depth chart.
But the longer Stefanski drags this out, the louder the truth gets. The Browns aren't just flirting with a quarterback controversy anymore, they're playing chicken with their own credibility. One more wrong move and this whole situation could blow up bigger than anyone expects. And here's the thing, that credibility isn't something you get back easy once it's gone. The league's watching, the media's circling, and the fans, they've already picked their side. Every highlight clip, every press conference, every sideline shot gets dissected like a courtroom case, and it's all leading back to one question. Why isn't Shedeur Sanders starting yet? Inside the building, it's getting tense. Players who used to stay quiet are starting to exchange looks. Whispers are turning into full-blown debates, and you can feel the split growing wider by the day. Some of them are tired of pretending the decision makes sense, while others are just trying to keep their heads down and survive the storm. But make no mistake, that storm's about to hit. Stefanski keeps preaching patience like it's a sermon, but patience doesn't win games, and it sure doesn't keep locker rooms united. The more he drags this out, the more the entire team feels like it's walking on eggshells. And the irony, the one guy keeping it all from falling apart, is the rookie he refuses to start. Shedeur's calm, composed, and laser-focused. Every rep he takes in practice feels like a silent challenge, a message that says, "I'm ready whenever you stop hesitating." And that's what scares people the most, because deep down they all know. The second Stefanski finally lets him off the leash, it's game over. Shedeur won't just play, he'll take over. And when that takeover happens, it's going to shake the entire league, because this isn't just another rookie getting a chance. This is a moment waiting to explode. The Browns don't even realize how close they are to rewriting their whole story, but right now, they're standing in their own way. Fans can feel it. You see it in the signs at the stadium, in the comments online, in the chants that echo louder every week. Start Shedeur!
So I don't know if this is some type of love story going on with Dillon Gabriel and Kevin Stefanski, but obviously there's something going on. I don't know if they're part of the same fraternity or if he went to school with his parents or his uncle or somebody, but there's no way that Dillon Gabriel could be playing at this caliber with 52 pass attempts and how poorly he played, and he's still the starting quarterback. There's just no way. Either he just doesn't care about winning, but I don't know what it is.
It's not just hype anymore, it's conviction. They've watched enough to know when something special's sitting right there waiting to ignite. The city's energy is boiling over, and if Stefanski doesn't make a move soon, he might lose control of the very narrative he's trying to manage. Behind closed doors, the tension's thick. Coaches keep defending the process, analysts keep poking holes in the logic, and players are walking into team meetings like they already know the truth. They're just waiting for the coach to admit it out loud. The balance is cracking, and all it'll take is one more loss for the whole locker room to flip. And here's what's wild. Shedeur's not begging for the spot. He's not politicking or stirring drama. He's just doing the work, waiting for the game to come to him. But everyone watching knows when that moment arrives, he's not just going to fill a role. He's going to redefine what it means to wear that jersey. Because when the spotlight finally hits him, Cleveland's silence will turn into thunder. The locker room knows it. The fans know it. The whole league knows it. This won't just be about who the Browns start. It's about who they might lose because they couldn't make a decision when it mattered most. You can feel it coming, that turning point where hesitation turns into regret. Maybe it's finally time for Cleveland to stop hesitating, stop explaining, and start trusting what's right in front of them. A young quarterback who's done everything right, who's earned every ounce of respect, and who's ready to lead right now. Not someday, not down the line, but now. Because that locker room, they're ready to follow him. And that city, they're begging for something to believe in again. This isn't just about football anymore. It's about pride, identity, and the spark that could finally flip the Browns' story from tragedy to triumph. And if Cleveland doesn't see it soon, someone else will. And when that happens, when Shedeur Sanders finally gets his shot, whether it's in Cleveland or somewhere else, every single second of this drama will suddenly make perfect sense. So if you've been following this saga, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Because trust me, this story's just getting started. See you on the next one.